Hi guys, how are we? Consukeja here. This is Inspire YG. YG is an acronym for Young Generation. And so I started off this platform not long ago. It's actually not just a platform on YouTube. Yes, I do have a YouTube channel and I do have a Facebook page. However, it's actually a foundation. And the whole idea started off with myself having achieved a couple of achievements or gained a couple of achievements that I was really humbled for, and I just felt like I needed to share my journey as an international student. So I am originally from Kenya, East Africa, and I moved to Australia, specifically in Sydney. I moved here for further studies, and I'm no longer a student now. I'm finished. However, it has been a journey. So this page was sort of born out of that feeling of, everything that I went through, and the ups and downs, we say the hills, the valleys, the losses, the gains. Every one of those was quite important, and it's one of the reasons I'm here today. And so I take this opportunity to welcome you. If this is your first time here, feel at home. And please comment down below if you're watching this channel for the first time. Please tell me where you're watching from and how you even got to this platform. So I normally encourage people to share with their networks, and I would encourage you to do so too. If it's your first time here, please feel free to subscribe. It's free. Someone said that I should always mention that. Subscribing to a channel is free, and that way you can be notified, and also click the bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So today's video is quite interesting. I will share part of why I've been away. I've been MIA, missing in action. However, it's not all it has been, because of some life changes, and life happens. However, this is not an excuse. I am coming back with some brilliant information that could help someone out there or could spark somebody's idea. So I'll be back to share with you the amazing content that I've got for you today. See you shortly. Welcome back. Consukeja, Inspire YG, once more. So today's topic is quite interesting. I am talking about interviews. It's a daunting topic, and I just felt like I've been saying for years that I'm gonna do a video about interviews, and I have been to a lot of interviews in my life, and I know I might look like I'm not being under the sun for a while, but I've actually been under the sun for a minute. So I have been to a couple of interviews, and I want to share maybe some of the experiences I've had in the past, but also some of the experiences I had very, very recently. So I been transitioning, and I've been thinking about, you know, personal development. And I mean, we all have to think about personal development. I think it's quite important because nobody wants to be stagnant. Nobody wants to be in one place forever in terms of developing ourselves and growing ourselves and knowing what we are doing here on earth, right? So I'm not sure you're probably here because you probably have an interview coming up, or you want to prepare yourself for the future because you hopefully you're thinking you might actually apply for an interview or apply for a job in the near future, or whatever period that that you're planning to apply for a job. And so the tips that I've got today tips that I learned myself during that process when I was applying for a job, and also tips that I applied or I've learned over the years. So I did apply for a new job recently, and thanks be to God that I got the job. So that's something to be grateful for, and so I'm very grateful. And I want to talk about that process, how that process was, and what are the things that I learned during that period. So the period of preparing for, no, the period of applying, deciding what I want to apply for, the period of actually sitting down and applying for the job, doing research to actually apply for the job, and the actual interview, and what happened next. So stay tuned for this, because this should be very exciting, and I'm hoping that it will be very informative. And please comment down below and tell me whether this, whatever I'll share, will resonate with you. So now, I believe in learning, and majority of the things I share are not just opinion. I'm a person who is very, very what can I say? What's the word? I really value facts, right? I really value things that are factual, things that are valid, things that have been statistically proven, or there's research that has been done. So it's not just from vacuum or opinions. And so majority of the things that I share, yes, it's my journey, but I like to share facts. And if I don't know, because nobody knows everything, and I'm one of those people who don't know everything, I say that I don't know. So how to ace an interview is a video that is on YouTube. I would also recommend that you watch it. However, I learned a lot about this video. So it was done by a lady called Linda Spencer, and she's an assistant. She was, because this is a couple of years ago, an assistant director at Harvard Extension School, career advisor. And so she did a very comprehensive video. It wasn't as long as mine will be. Mine will be because I like stories and I'm gonna give stories. However, it was a short 5 minutes video, and she was talking about what to look forward to when you're planning to go for an interview. So that's what I'll be taking you through. I'm not sure whether you've been to an interview lately or you have been to an interview in the past. But the processes can be very different, and they will vary from one person to another, and from one career or one job to another, one field to another. However, some concepts are the same, and across the board you have to apply these things. So first and foremost, what I learned from Linda and what she was saying was that you do have to do research in 3 main areas, and part of these areas is, one, start with yourself. So do research on yourself, or at least bring yourself to a meeting and do a bit of self-reflection and figure out who you are. Why is this? It's because some of the questions that, depending on the interview you go to, the first question you might be asked is, tell us about yourself. Now, I have done a bit of research, and I found that most often than not, people misunderstand that question to be a time to chitty chat with the interviewer, right? But it's mainly talking about what can you provide, like just giving a brief summary about your relevant qualifications that you think align to that position you applied for, and also how can you meet that employer's need, because they are employing you because they have a specific need. How can you meet that need? The other thing is, what are you bringing to the table? They already have something on the table. That's the offer there. That's why they offered you that interview date. However, there is something you have to be offering on the table, and mind you, you could be having other competitors or other people who are also applying for the same position. Last but not least, you will also think about what value can you add. So what's your value proposition? What is that thing that you're good at, that you think probably it's unique only to you, or at least to few people, and you think you could benefit this organization? The next part, the next research area that you should do is the researching the position. So have a clear understanding of what you are, what you're doing, or what will be expected of you. So that will be, you know, going to the position. Majority of the positions when you apply, they have a position description there. Look at each one of those criteria and see if you meet them. Then mention it, because then at least they, you know, it's a good impression to the interviewer, because then they know you did your due diligence to find out about the job that you're actually telling them that you need. That area of research is researching the employer. So how well do you know that organization you want to go to? I mean, you want to start working for or working with. And they could ask you, why do you want to work with us and not XYZ? You know, so you it's good to also research competitors of that particular organization, so that you can have that at the back of your mind. They could also ask you, what do you know about us? You know, and they could also ask you about the organization chart. They could ask you about the products or the services they offer. Yeah, and all these are pointers to show that you are very interested in their company specifically. So talking about their competitors as well, it's a good thing, because you're showing that you're not going to come to the job and be comfortable. You will know that this organization is competing, has got other competitors. So those are the three areas of research, and obviously researching the industry that you'll be working in. So the next thing that I learned, obviously from that career advisor, is prepare for short relevant answers. Short relevant stories about yourself. So it depending on the interview, let's assume you're an engineer or you're a mathematician, you know, you could get into an interview and they would give you a pen or a marker or whatever it is, and they tell you, go to the boardroom, do a certain you know, mathematic, or do a certain calculation for us. It could also be, if you're an artist, they could ask you to draw something. It depends. It's very quite specific to the specific area of field of practice that you're going to. So it's good to know that these are some of the, they could actually be very practical, or they could just be theoretical. So there are interviews where you walk in and you're asked to have a seat, but there are also interviews where you're given a piece of paper, or you're directed to the board to go and write or draw something and give some facts. So demonstration. So those are kind of the interviews that could be. There's also the short stories. I wrote here short relevant stories that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I learned that from Linda as well. So have a short story. Now, if you're a creative, this will probably be in your fingertips. It will be probably easy, which to me, storytelling comes naturally. So I don't really mind if it's very easy for me to even make up stories in my head. However, it doesn't come natural for everybody. So some people have got to practice and have got to actually have the facts, because if they are lying, they're going to stammer, or they're going to get stuck in the middle. So yeah, that's another area of research that you need to do. The other one is practice your responses. Now, this is mainly because it can be going for an interview can be a very daunting kind of experience, where you feel, you know, I've got these experiences. So for me, my palms sweat, or my feet, and it's because I'm really stressed, and my stress is sort of manifests from the inside. It doesn't show on the outside. However, and I feel the butterflies, and I can't eat a couple of hours before, or even the whole day until the interview. So that's how I deal with it. Some people it's different. Some people feel really sick. And then some people are just so confident they just walk in there. So it's good to know how to work your nerves, because it's the same way, the way you practice to go for an exam room. You know, the same feelings you feel when you're going to an exam is the same way. But how do you manage those feelings? You can manage them, or those emotions, you can manage them by doing a lot of practice. Practice makes perfect. Now, it might look stupid to sit in front of a mirror and look at yourself and sort of practice and assume, you know, assume the questions the interviewer can be asking you and then answer them. It might sound stupid, however, the same confidence you're going to build when you're doing it in your bedroom next to a mirror or in front of a mirror is the same confidence that you carry in the interview room. So it's good to actually practice, right? Now, the other thing to remember about practice, just be authentic, because sometimes you can be so crafty, or you can look like you just crammed everything and you're just not being yourself. That also doesn't help, because then the interviewer can see through 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 the fakeness or lack of authenticity. So it always helps to be real and to be authentic and to be yourself, because there's only one of you, and that's what will be an added advantage if you bring out who you are in that interview by being yourself and nothing short of that. So make a good first impression. Now, I learned so much about the first impression thing, because I know we talk about first impression when you're going on a date. We talk about first impression when you're meeting, like let's say you're meeting your mentor or someone that you value highly, or even in an interview setting. First impression, what I learned about first impression, and I wrote here, it takes around 7 seconds for the person on the other side, let's say an interviewer, to actually be able to get a little bit about yourself by the time you walk in the door to the interview room or to the boardroom. So 7 seconds is not a lot, but if someone can be able to tell so much about you within 7 seconds, then you can imagine the impact of those 7 seconds. So making a good first impression, first and foremost, to me, I believe it's arriving early. There's a lot of importance that is there. Not just importance, it's actually it's different in every culture because I can tell you from where I come from, sometimes keeping time it's not even a thing, and I wouldn't want to generalize, because there are people who keep time. My dad is one of those. But there are people who, when you tell them you're meeting at 7 a.m., they'll be there at 6:50 10 minutes prior. And so arriving on time, it's actually a very good first impression in an interview, because nobody wants their time wasted. And most of the time, especially when you go to interviews where there are panels, the person calling you for an interview probably had requested the other two panelists to forfeit some of the busy schedules or tasks they had to actually be there to assist that interviewer in that interview. So these are very busy people, as you can see, and most often than not, the other interviewers could be part of that department, but they could also be from other departments. So they have literally sacrificed themselves to be there. Now, you imagine you're the one who wants favor or who want an opportunity, but then you don't even keep time. It can translate as disrespect. It can also not disrespect. It can translate as being rude, or like show you don't care, or it can translate to you don't really value that opportunity, because even the interview is an opportunity. There are so many people who apply for jobs, but they don't even make it to the interview part of selection process. So yeah, keep time. So according to Linda, or the person that the career advisor at Harvard, she suggested arriving 30 minutes early within the vicinity of wherever you're going for the interview, but then show up at the reception 10 to 15 minutes to the interview time to announce that you're there. So that's a very good impression, because obviously the receptionist will say, oh, that person has been there for X amount of time. That looks actually very good on you. It's almost like a tick you're getting there before you even start the interview. So once you meet the interviewer, first impression matters. Like I said, it takes 7 seconds for them to determine. They look you up and down, look at your teeth. Are you smiling? Are you frowning? Are you afraid? Are you shaking? Do you look prepared? Do you look like you don't want to be there? All these things can be determined within 7 seconds. And that's research that has proven that. So, yeah, the first impression can tell so much about you. like I said, it can tell if you're kind, if you're courteous, if you're respectful, because you're respecting other people's time, if you're there on time, and so much more to your favor when you get there on time, because then your mind will be, you'll be really, you'll have some time to sit down, do a bit of reflection, breathe in and out, just have that relaxation moment just before you go in. So I've got my book here. That's why I'm looking down. So, but when you get to the interview, so the other thing to note is just be confident. I mean, confidence is a very, I would say that I've had so many doors open for me because of confidence and nothing else. I've managed to get a lot of opportunities in life, not because I had the skill set, but because I had the confidence. Because with confidence, you can actually speak for yourself and get, you can get a vote of a benefit of doubt, even when people don't think you qualify for something, when you're confident, because people will be like, okay, I can trust you, that you're actually you're confident enough to say, look, I'm willing to learn. I don't know this, I'm not an expert in this area, but I'm willing to learn because I'm passionate about it, or because I'll put more extra work to learn more about it. So being positive and coming there with a positive energy and enthusiasm and being free, all these are added advantages. So there are three types of interviews. So there are behavioral interviews where they begin with questions like tell me more about, tell me a time when. For example, tell me a time when you led a team and things didn't go as expected, or things went as expected. Tell me more about a time when you had this type of client and this happened. How did you deal with it? That's more like behavioral. So you are gonna have short stories, the one I was talking about, at the tip of your fingers, or at least memorize some, or remember of actual incidences that happen or actual events, because then they will come out naturally, right? And I said, if you're creative, best believe you can put 1 and 2 together plus your experience and come up with stories that will align with that. Technical interviews are the ones I was talking about. For example, like software engineer positions, where they could ask you, just go directly to the board and do some mathematics or algorithms or whatever that is. Or if you're an engineer or an accountant, they could ask you to solve a profit and loss problem, do a budget, balance the budget sheet. So it doesn't matter, it just depends on the field that you're in. There is also case interviews where, so if it's case interviews, you practice a couple of cases. This could probably be for lawyers or people in the business world. So 3 types of interviews. Just have a clue of what the 3 of them entail. Do more research on them, so that in case you go to an interview and you don't know which interview questions they might ask, at least you're planned and you're equipped to answer the 3 of them. Now, in this day and age, with social media, with the pandemic and everything going on, I know that a lot of people are actually doing interviews through Skype online, or through phone interviews. Now, this is another level where the needs are now different. This is different. Obviously, there are advantages because you don't have to worry about dress codes. I mean, I did not mention about dress codes, but I think I don't want to assume it's self-explanatory. Maybe let me quickly go through that. So obviously, for an interview, you're not going to wear your pair of jeans and your t-shirt. You will try and dress up at least a bit formal. Put on a shirt, put on a tie if you're a gentleman, put on a coat, wear proper pants, don't wear jeans, don't wear sport shoes, wear some clothes, nice shoes. If you're a lady, dress decently, make it a bit formal, don't wear very short clothes, or wear long. Just be decent. You know what it is to wear casual. To wear casual and to wear formal clothes. For an interview, try and be formal. However, like I said, if you're doing it over the phone, then you don't have to worry about your dress code. However, you're gonna have to think about with the telephone. What I learned is that it's better to use a landline if you have access to that. However, if not, just ensure you're in a place that is not noisy, especially not like me. I'm doing this video in the middle of the road, so the place is very noisy. So I hope that does not interrupt my delivery of this video, because I know it will help someone somewhere, because it helped me. So yeah, ensure the environment is quiet and it's conducive. You've charged your phone and you have good volume, or you've looked at this you've looked at the settings and the volume is right, all those kind of things. With the be organized in the way you're talking. Answer questions if you don't understand. You can excuse yourself, excuse me, do you mind repeating that, politely, things like that. Your tone, don't be too fast-paced or too slow-paced. So just all those kind of things, but also because people can feel the energy. With the energy, you don't need the presence. You actually just need to be in the moment. So if you're in the moment and you're enthusiastic, the person will feel the energy from the other side of the phone. So let's talk about Skype. Nowadays we have Skype, we have Zoom, we have WebEx, we have Teams. You could get an interview where you are asked to have one of these platforms, and so this is going to be on a video. So this one, you have to think about the dress code. You might probably not think about the dress code from your waist down. You can have your shorts from your waist down. I don't have shorts right now. But you can think about from your waist up, depending on how you're going to set up your video. Now, ensure your video is actually, if you're going to use your phone, ensure your video will be on a landscape. So landscape is when your video is like this. Don't hold your phone like this, because when your phone is standing, they will be seeing you half, and then the other half will be blurred out, or it will just be like a black screen. So always ensure that it's on landscape. And if you're using your laptop, that should be fine. However, same case, same thing. Charge your phones. Just ensure the volumes are up or the volumes are good. If you're doing the video calls, obviously you're going to think about the internet. That's something that can actually fail you. If the internet is not very good, please, if your Wi-Fi is playing up, just use your GB. Just use your data. Now, so like I said, think about the attire, think about what you're wearing, think about your background. So if I was doing the interview, maybe I wouldn't be here. I'll probably find an empty wall. I just like this place because this is where I do a lot of my studying and everything. My desk is here. However, I have a lot of things going on in the background. They could disrupt maybe the interviewer. So you probably need just like an empty wall, don't have a lot of things at the back. And then there's another thing. See how I'm making this video? When I'm looking here and I'm looking directly at the camera, I'm actually looking at you, isn't it? I'm looking at you. But if I'm looking at the camera, I'm now looking here. See how it doesn't show? See, when I'm looking at the camera itself, when I'm looking at myself, you can see that I'm not giving you eye contact, right? Right now, I'm not giving you eye contact, but right now I'm giving you eye contact. That's why you should look directly at the camera, the small hole. I don't know whether that's what I should say, but that little thing there, look at that. Don't look at yourself when you're doing the video. That's how you give eye contact. So yeah, I think that's about it. And maybe the last thing that I remembered, or that I learned also from that, was after the interview, just write an email, find out the next steps. Sometimes some employers will tell you, okay, Connie, this is the next steps, this is what you're going to do next, or we'll reach out to you. But when they don't ask and they give you a minute to ask a question, then you can say, I just wanted to find out what are the next steps, so that they can inform you. And yeah, just have a closing statement, like at the end of the interview. you know, I wrote, let me read what I wrote. Have a closing statement at the end of the interview to let the interviewer know that you're very interested in the position. And actually, I did this. So when I did my interview, at the end of it, I did mention that I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I really am very humbled by the opportunity to even just get to come to the interview, because I know so many people applied and maybe not everybody made it to the interview. So I'm here. I just want to say I'm grateful now. And it working for this organization is something that I've wanted for many years, and it would mean the world to me if I actually got the job. Yeah, so these are some of the things. And you can send an email, to send a vote of thanks when you get home, because that goes a long way, and it just shows that you actually appreciated the opportunity. And it's also like an opportunity to say that, look, I appreciate that you called me for this interview, and make sure you do it between 24 to 48 hours after your interview. So basically everything I've said, everything I talked about, is everything I did at the interview that I went to about 3 weeks ago. And as we speak, I got the job, and I am now in a new position. So it's a dream job. It's something that I've always wanted to do. My background has always had something to do with supporting the community, and especially the people who are very, the minority, the people who are sometimes forgotten. That is my background. So and I love it. I love it. And one day I'll talk about exactly what I do. However, that was not the point of this video. The point of this video was to take you through those, I think, very valuable information if you're actually going for an interview. So please comment down below if anything I mentioned resonated. If you have any questions, please comment down below. I will reply to those myself. And if you're going for an interview, I wish you the best of luck, best wishes. Just please prepare yourself. Don't stress. If you get the interview, to me, I believe, if you are called for an interview, you are one step away to get through the door. And I'm not just saying this to be inspirational. I'm saying this because that's what I've always gone for an interview believing that I would get the job. And all the interviews I've been to in my lifetime, I've always gotten the jobs that I was applying for. All the interviews that I went to, I came out knowing that I got the job, and I actually did get the job. And it has nothing to do with I am the best skilled, or I'm the best, or whatever. Nothing. I just believe in myself, and I believe that I have something to offer, and that's what I go and say at the interview. Exactly what I'm talking, how I talked on this interview is how, or in this video, is how I spoke at the interview. I just say that I know that I have something to offer, but I also have a huge room to grow and learn, and I'm receptive and I'm willing to learn. So these are all the things that will scare you to wherever you want to go in your career journey. So share with me down below. Let me know if this video was valuable, if it was helpful. If you have any questions, any additions, please feel free. And thank you so much for popping in. Please don't forget to subscribe. And until the next time, bye.